Today, we're talking about what is love? What does it mean to love? Wow. That is a really interesting question for me. I'm someone that felt unlovable as a child. So as you can see, there's my family, and I'm originally from West Africa, Guinea. Both of my parents were really young when they had me. My father always dreamed of moving to the United States and going to school and bringing us to the United States. So at the age of 3 years old, and my sister was just a newborn, my father had his opportunity to get a full scholarship to come to the United States. And he was so excited. I mean, the whole family was excited. But the problem was, my mother could not afford to raise two little girls by herself. So my parents both made the decision that it would be better, since I was older, that they would send me off to go live with my aunt in Ivory Coast. So I went off to live with my aunt in Ivory Coast, leaving my mother and my little sister in Guinea. And my aunt was amazing. She was everything that I needed and more. She had 3 kids of her own. She decided that she would help raise me. And it was hard financially for her. She was a teacher. So I always used to think to myself, why is it that my aunt, who could take care of 3 kids, and my mother, who only had 2, couldn't do it? As a child, I couldn't understand that. And I remember when I would have disagreement with family members, they would say things like, your parents left you here because you're just really hard to love. As a child, just imagine hearing those words. Or playing with your neighborhood. When I would play with the kids in the neighborhood, they would say things like, where's your parents? In school, where's your parents? I quite didn't know what to say. So my relationship with God as a child really grew because I would pray a lot. And I realized that praying to God and asking Him, Lord, please reunite me with my parents, my father and my mother. And that's really my prayer. And then maybe go to school, move to the United States just like my father. At 9 years old, I was playing and I see a woman walking toward me. And I looked at her and in my mind I said, wow, I look just like her. She came up to me and she goes, I'm your mother and I'm here to take you home. At 9 years old. I was so angry when she said it. I looked at her and I said, you're not my mother. I wanted her to feel the pain that I felt from 3 to 9. No birthday cards, no phone calls on holidays. I knew I had a mother, but she wasn't there for me. It was my aunt that was there for me. My aunt showed me love. So even though I was angry, I still had to pack myself and go with my mother. And that was hard because now I was leaving my aunt, who then my mother, who played my mother. So I felt that I was abandoning my aunt by leaving. So I left, went back with my mother in Guinea. I could not get along with my mother. It was almost like my aunt was raising me a different way, and then now my aunt was telling me to act a different way. So we just couldn't get along. Just imagine being 9 and 10 and not getting along with your mother. So my father got a sponsorship to bring us to the United States, and I was really happy. I was 13. Remember, I have never met my dad from 3. So 13 years old, turning 14, I met my father the first time. And it was amazing. I was excited. But it was also hard because here I was. Now I have a man in my life that's telling me what to do, what not to wear, how to act. So I didn't get along with my father either. So both my mother and my father, I couldn't get along with them. So I decided that it's probably best at 16 to move out. 16 years old, I moved out. I started applying for colleges. I applied over, I don't know, over 10 colleges because at the time I didn't know how to speak or write or read English. So there was one college that was nice enough to let me in San Francisco. So I went there. It was a private college, very expensive. So again, I needed help. My father stepped in to help me. I was now in college, but I couldn't afford college. So even though I moved out, but now I need my dad's help. So my father showed me love by paying for my education, by helping me. Because that was a big dream of mine, is to go to school. So I went to school. I was thanking God. I was telling God, thank you for allowing me to be here. I'm so grateful. Everything is going great. At 29 years old, I felt a lump in my left side of my breast. So 29, while I was working during the day, going to school at night. So I went to my doctor, and my doctor said, no, it's not cancer, you're too young. So I left. I knew something was wrong. Something told me something was not right because the lump was getting bigger. I waited probably about a month or two, and then I went to a different doctor, second opinion. And also that doctor said, no, it's not cancer. You're too young. So waited for 2 more years. And the lump got even bigger, the size of a lemon. So I went into the third doctor. And unfortunately, I was stage 3 breast cancer. I was stage 3 breast cancer. It was one of the darkest days of my life. I could not even, when I heard you have cancer, I felt like my dream was taken away from me. School, everything was taken away from me when I heard that word. I cried. I called my father and I said, Dad, I have cancer. And the first thing my father said was, you'll be okay, you can fight. For some reason, I always wanted my parents' approval. So by my father telling me you'll be okay, I believed him. So I got off the phone with my father and I just started researching about breast cancer. And I made the decision that no matter what, I was gonna finish school. No matter what, I was gonna finish school. So I fought cancer, going to school. And my mother took all her savings, her 401k, everything that she owned came by my side. She showed me love. She was there with me to my doctor's appointments. She was there with me when I couldn't cook for myself. It was amazing. And my father also joined. He came and visited. So my parents showed me love when I was fighting cancer. And then I started praying that I wanted to meet a guy that would be by my side when I was fighting cancer. And I met a guy, very nice guy. Our first date, I looked at him and I said, hey, I'm fighting cancer, stage 3. And he looked at me and said, we're gonna do it together. I'm gonna support you. We're gonna do it together. And I was just like, wow, what kind of, like, this is like an angel. I was so happy. I was happy that he was willing to stick by me. And as I started getting better, getting my strength back, and doing my self-care, started getting up in the morning, exercising, meditating, praying. And again, I was sad. I started crying again. I was really sad that it didn't work, because this is somebody that I thought I was gonna have kids with. I thought he was the one. So he moved on. So I didn't have a choice but move on. So I went back to prayer, asking for another wonderful, this time I was very detailed, ladies. I was like, I want someone who's never been married, never had kids, handsome, 6'3", has a college degree. I was very detailed. And I was watching TV, and some matchmaker was like, I met my husband on a dating site. So I said, if she can meet her husband there, maybe I will too. I went on there. The first picture that I saw was Jason. And I said, wow, his profile was amazing. So everything that I wrote down, it was on there. We went on a date. Right away, I just knew something was different about him. What was different about Jason was that between Jason and my ex, is that Jason allows me to be myself. He allows me to be the businesswoman that I am, the fun, outgoing person that I am. I can be myself. So, fast forward to today, Jason and I are married. We had 2 girls. Jada, her middle name is Zizel, after my aunt. And Faith, the little one, of course I had faith in God. And then her middle name is Louise, my mother. So both of my girls are named after the 2 beautiful women in my life, my 2 mothers. So, what does it mean to love? It means self-discovery, resiliency, forgiveness. Most importantly, self-love. So I hope all of us in here can have the type of love where we can grow and be ourselves. And before I leave, I love you. Get screamed.